Finding the right coach isn't easy. Trust me, I've been there. Tennis doesn't just take time, it takes your life away. Your weekends, your friends, your routine, and especially your identity all come under pressure. The good news is there are systems in place in how you can conquer all these elements. Finding the right mentor and coach will help you solve the game on and off the court. Don't allow your tournament life and your social life to trap you into becoming a toxic person. What's up, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Love of Life podcast hosted by yours truly, Gaston Murray. And in today's episode, we're going to be tackling how to find the right coach, understanding tournament life and social life. And man, if I had to look back on my junior career, I'd say that I competed against some of the most talented and gifted junior tennis athletes in the country. However, I also saw many of them be burnt out by parents, frustrated with coaches, and ultimately quit their tennis journey. And I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful that I was not one of them. And it's no shade on them or their families or their background. But as you know, tennis could be toxic. It could be frustrating. And if you don't have the right people in your life, if you don't have the right systems in your life, you'll ultimately be tired of the sport and you'll quit. And you don't want to be that person. And so I'm here to help you and guide you into a path that's healthy, into a path that's inspiring, and into a path that's going to help you not only become a better player on the court, but a better person off the court. And at the age of around 7, my dad became my coach. And he'll probably laugh at this because he knows very well at the time, he didn't know all the ins and outs of how to raise a tennis junior. And I certainly did not know all the ins and outs of what it really meant to become a young competitor, how to compete against local rivals over and over again in the same tournaments and face the same type of pressures that my peers would have to handle time and time again. It was a learning curve for us, but I'm so thankful and grateful that my dad took the leap of faith and decided to coach me because there was no one else on the planet that knew me better than him. And so my mom was in full support of it. And to give you a little background story of my dad, he was a former Division I college athlete at Murray State. He played receiver under the legendary head coach, Frank Beamer. And for those of you who are listening, you guys probably know who he is. He is a legendary college football coach, built a lot of powerhouse teams at Virginia Tech. And my dad was grateful to be mentored by him in his life. And he would probably tell you that some of the life lessons that he is applying now in his life and that he has learned have been through him. So shout out to Frank Beamer. Now, back to the story of my dad and I. We were, again, originally caught up in a struggle, obviously because I'm not doing that well in school. And we began this tennis journey, and tennis is now making me not only a better person, but it's helped me solve problems on the court. And we're trying to bridge the gap with that in school. And now I really want to compete. I really want to get into the sport. And so we get into it and we're watching these Nick Bollettieri videos and we're going to academies and we're trying to get all the necessary pieces of advice is from other coaches. And so we're on this journey. And again, it's raw, but we're walking by it by faith, and we're just trusting God that things would just come together. And if I had to look back on my journey with my dad as my coach, there were obviously times where there was frustration, there were lash outs, there were things I didn't agree with, there were things that he didn't agree with. We didn't always see eye to eye, but one thing that my dad did do a great job of is understanding that he is a father first, and his job was not just to mentor me to become a good tennis player, but to become a good human being. And if you're listening to this as a parent and you're trying to coach your son and daughter, understand that, yes, it's frustrating. And if you're on that journey, just understand that your relationship with your son, with your daughter, matters more than just becoming a good tennis player. So you have to understand the fact that when you're coaching your kid, there'll be times where you feel like they don't get it, or there'll be times where they might not want to listen to you. That's all part of the family dynamics of coaching your kids. So if you want to take that risk, just understand the responsibility of building their character and understanding that you have to inspire them and love them and motivate them in any necessary way that you can, because again, you know your kid better than most. And if you're a coach, right, or if you're a junior who's listening to this, find the right coach and the right mentor. If you're not being coached by your parents, this is a big, big thing, because again, you don't want to be in a toxic relationship with a coach. You don't want to be in a frustrating situation where you're trying to prove yourself and that certain individual might not believe in you. That's really what it comes down to. Sometimes you might have the necessary talent and necessary gift, but if you don't have the right people around you to believe in you, to encourage you, and to inspire you to become not only a better tennis player, but a better person, then you won't make it in this tennis journey. So find the right mentor. Mentors help a lot because they're coaching you not just in tennis, but in life. And they're going to help you with things that you probably thought you didn't need help with. So this is a message to you juniors. Value your coaches, value your parents, value the people that believe in you. And with that being said, this is going to transition, in my opinion, to a better tournament life. So what is tournament life like? When I was a junior, I traveled the local junior circuit in Florida, and I was thankful to be born in that state and competing in that state, because Florida is a big state when it comes to producing a lot of not only successful tennis juniors, but pros as well. So I had a lot of access to not just high profile juniors, but high profile pros. I got to see the ins and outs of how the best train, because a lot of the players that came to Florida wanted to be in good weather compared to most states that might not have that privilege. So I'm competing, I'm playing these tournaments, and my dad and I decided, hey, we're just going to dominate the local circuit, and then we'll play the lower level national tournaments around Florida. And from there, we'll just build up our resume of how we compete against the local rivals. And if we have to play a national tournament outside of the state, we'll do that. But very rarely did I have to do that. And we decided, hey, in order to save cost and time, let's learn how to dominate the age group, and let's go about it in a healthy way. We weren't in the process of skipping age groups. I know a lot of people tend to do that because they want to get ahead of the competition and think, hey, if I play 16s, when I'm 13 or 14, I'll get ahead. I'll play bigger players. We hit harder. And a lot of parents, coaches, they get sucked into that mindset of, hey, I'm going to play up, when they're not dominating their current level. So my advice to you, you're playing tournaments, you're traveling, try to dominate your level as much as possible. And if you are dominating your level at an early age, then you can move up a little bit. And I'm not saying that you cannot play up in certain circumstances, but you have to look at reality and look at your level and say, if I'm not beating the same people consistently, then I have to stay where I'm at, be patient, be comfortable, learn how to compete the right way, and don't rush the process of trying to play so many tournaments. I've seen a lot of kids who were talented, gifted, but because they played too many tournaments and they were pressured to get a certain ranking or reach a certain level, ultimately they gave up. So if you're a parent, do not pressure your kid to play so many tournaments, even if they're really good at a young age. In my opinion, my motto, slow and steady wins the race. Now, to social life, this is the big one. Your social life will have to come at a cost, in my professional opinion. When I started playing the game, and for me, for those of you who don't know me, right, I'm more of an independent person, so I didn't mind sacrificing friendships or social life or not going to certain events. But your kid, or if you're a junior listening to this, you might not be like me, where you might want to be the life of the party. You might want to be where everybody's at. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but tennis does not allow you to be everywhere and be everybody's best friend. It just doesn't. Now, I'm not saying you can never hang out. I'm not saying you can never have fun, But if you have goals to do really well in the sport, if you want to be a top Division I athlete, or if you say, you know what, I really want to go pro one day, you're going to have to sacrifice some time with friends, with family. I can't tell you how many Sundays I missed in church, how many days I missed in school, how many birthdays, events I missed just because of tennis. And guess what? I don't regret any of it because I love the sport so much. I was willing to sacrifice my time, and my father was willing to sacrifice his time and energy into making me a better player and a person. So understand that your social life will come at a cost. But don't worry, don't freak out. Don't start crying. Don't start saying, oh my gosh, I'm never going to do anything fun. It's okay. All right? You got to pay a cost if you want to be great. And I understood that at a young age. And as I got better, I just got comfortable with it. So don't worry if you're missing out on other things in life, because trust and believe me, when you dedicate yourself to this game, when you honor the code of having good character, if you want to bear the responsibility of having the right mentors in your life, you will go far in this game. It doesn't matter if you think that everything in your life is being taken away from you. And I believe it shouldn't feel like that. For some situations, I've seen certain players where it was. I've seen certain players in bad situations where coaches were abusive, and you don't want to be in that situation. So I'm not saying you should stay in that just for the sake of mastering tennis. Don't get it twisted. You need to have healthy boundaries. But again, if you want to be great at the sport, there is a cost. There is a price to pay to be great. And that's okay. You got to enjoy that journey. You got to embrace that journey. So as I'm saying this to you now, as a guide, as a mentor, be grateful, be happy, be excited that you get to play this incredible game. I know it's tough. It's an individual sport and you're out there solving problems on your own. But with that being said, you got to just pump your chest sometimes, even when you don't feel like waking up, even when you don't feel like going to practice. Just know that there are always brighter days ahead, and you got to be grateful. You got to be thankful for the people that are in your life. Get the right mentors, understand your tournament life, understand that your social life, all these things will be impacted and will ultimately form your identity, not only as a player, but as a person. But you got to do it the right way. There's a right way and there is a wrong way to do it. I want to thank you guys so much for listening to the Love All Life podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. This would help the channel greatly. This episode will also be on Spotify as well. So if you are a Spotify listener, always be geared up to listen because there will be episodes dropping weekly, as I said. Again, love you guys. Thank you for supporting their journey. This is the Love All Life podcast. G-Man is out.